My name is Byron Rett. I'm a development director with the port, and I wanted to welcome you to Heron's Head Park. Heron's Head Park was built in 1999, this wetlands in the Bayview community adjacent to India Basin. It's approximately 22 acres, and we're here to celebrate the expansion of the wetlands and then also the creation of the first bidirectional bikeway in the city and in this neighborhood. With that brief introduction about the reason that we're here, I just wanted to introduce the mayor and have him speak to these two important projects for this Bayview community.
Thank you, Byron. Thank you. Thank you, Byron, and thank you for emceeing today. I know you've been around the city for many, many years, and I know, too, that, Byron, when you used to work at redevelopment for those years, you saw every opportunity to develop things, especially in the southeast sector. So this is a wonderful reconnect up with you and doing great work at the port under Monique's leadership, so thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So it's still teamwork. Yes, and I'm still kind of dazed from all the celebrations from yesterday, but I'm still willing to go ahead and say, go Giants, yet again. But I have to tell you with a story of how even the players, I think, with all the news broadcasts, I think they were really genuinely happy. And especially when I saw Angel Pagan, after Tony Bennett sang, he said, hey, guys, I need a picture. I need this picture. This is the most important picture of my life with Tony Bennett. So it's like he wanted to not even have a picture with the World Series trophy. He wanted with Tony Bennett, with his family. He was having fun. That was just the kind of, I think, level of fun that the players were having with the event yesterday. So I want to thank the rest of the city because everybody gets to enjoy these moments when it's so unique. But we're going to carry that on. Today, there's work to be done, and there's announcements to be made, and the southeast sector of our city is something that I've always registered to the rest of the city as your mayor. We would never abandon. In fact, we're making more and more investments in this neighborhood, and Heron's Head Park is the latest investment. It comes out of a $2.5 million investment from the 2008 Parks and Safety Bond that we had passed years ago. That Recon Park is 99% there with expenditures. All of the projects are already accounted for, and this is finished. It's $2.5 million of investment here that really corrects all of the access. It updates landscaping, and it makes and opens this place up for even more use. And perhaps unlike many of our urban settings, I think Heron's Head Park offers probably a very unique experience in that, apart from many of the trucks that are next door, it is relatively a pretty quiet place. You're going to be able to have not only hiking and walking and family-related activities out here, but those of you who really want to make sure that you can see the 100 species of birds here and see nature in its best and have that connected to the waterway are going to enjoy this very new park paths and all of the amenities that go with it. Along with this, we've also invested with our bicycle coalition, the Cargo Way, a 3/4 of a mile extension of a gap that was not filled in for bicycle use. That'll bring yet additional numbers of people here in a great way. And then it sits right next door to something that I worked with Mohammed Nuru for quite a number of years, and that's, of course, the Literacy for Environmental Justice Center, the Eco Center that we have here that really brings a lot of youth into training and education about our waterfront, about the environment, about the balance of nature and in the urban setting. And of course, it could not have happened on the theme that I will continue talking about the rest of my administration. That's the teamwork that has to happen. We have Recon Park that administers the bond. We have the port with its wonderful staff, its real estate staff, with Byron and Susan Reynolds and Monique Moyer, working together with Public Works to open up this area with our private sector, whether it's ledge or whether it's the park advocates or open space or the Blue Greenway advocates, because this is all a connection of that Blue Greenway that I was taught way back when I was at DPW days. We had to really start getting people to bike along and use and be able to walk along all of our waterway and experience the wonderful, wonderful natural resources that we had. So all of this investment, I think, will bring a lot of great use of open space to this area. And not to forget, we've got a little off-leash dog run that's also added in here for our dog lovers, which there are countless many in the city, but to even have an area where the dogs can play with their guardians and really have a natural place for this to happen. You see all the elements that are going on here. So I want to really take this opportunity to thank the teamwork of all of our agencies working together with the community, with LEDGE, and with the Department of the Environment is here as well. Yes, like I said, still a few urban settings here, but they're all positive activities. The rail station is historic, and it will remain that way. Again, welcome to Heron's Head Park. By the way, for those of you who don't know why it's named this way, is because if you ever have a chance to get above this area and see, it literally is shaped like a heron's head, and this is part of the honoring of our waterfront area. It's a great investment, and of course, it will lead me to say that with the responsible leadership that we've had with our Recreation and Parks bonds, this year on the November ballot is our Proposition B, which extends yet another great investment of $195 million to many other areas, including the southeast sector of open space that we've got to take care of, got to expand and modernize. This is what Rec and Park does very well with DPW and all of our capital, 10-year capital infrastructure leadership in the city that I got to work on when I was city administrator. We have to take care of our infrastructure in so many ways, and we're loving our parks to death. That's why we want this great investment to continue. And this is yet another small but very important addition to our whole park system. We're going to have $35 million more of that waterfront park with our connection to the port in this next bond. So it does serve as another great example of how we use these park bonds to the benefit of all of our users and our residents, and especially because we want our southeast sector to continue evolving in a positive way for everybody. It has been a trial for many of the residents here for many years, and because of the leadership of all of our different agencies working together with environmental advocates to make sure we strike that right balance, we can have these spaces used for all the different uses and still have the enjoyment of our environment at the same time for our residents. So thank you for being here on this announcement. We get, gosh, 4 things out of this: a dog run, Heron's Park with all its more accessibility and its landscape and its wonderful access to it. We've got the literacy for justice modernization here. And of course, we got the bi-directional bicycle lanes that fill 3/4 of unmet need that has been here for the blue and green, the green-blue way. So thank you for being here, and congratulations to everybody. It's been a great part of this collaboration, this great teamwork. And go Giants, and now go Warriors.
Thank you, Mayor Lee, for your leadership for this development. But I also want to introduce Monique Moyer, Director of the Port. When she became Director of the Port, she noticed how much energy and activity and funds are being focused on the northern waterfront and questioned whether or not we could do more in the southern waterfront. And I think these projects are an example of how we've responded to that challenge. So Monique Moyer, Executive Director.
Good morning, and thank you. It is wonderful to see so many of our friends and supporters and hard workers here today. How many of you are here at Heron's Head for the first time? Show of hands. Not many. That is terrific news. Well, welcome back. This is one of the greatest places in the city, I'm fond of saying. It's very visionary. You heard a lot about that from the mayor already. And part of it is, once again, San Francisco moving forward in a way that other cities just don't do. First and foremost, other cities do not pass general obligation bonds of these types for parks, and none of them pass them for waterfront parks. So we are already ahead of the game that way, and we're very, very proud of the generosity of our electorate for having that vision and supporting that vision. Secondly, we don't have ports that are building parks many places. If you think to the Port of Oakland, for example, there are a couple open spaces, but they're not in the middle of this heavy industrial use that you see all around you. This is a working port. This is an area where work is going on as we speak, but it's also a place for habitat and a place for our own restoration. And so it makes it just absolutely wonderful for that. And you can get here by almost every mode. I would love to say you could take the train. That is a historic train that we're most proud of. And I have ridden on it, and I wouldn't say it's quite as pleasurable as riding a bike. So I encourage you to ride your bike more often. And bring your dog. This is the first sanctioned dog area on the port's property. And we're very, very proud of that. So my job is to say thank yous to all of the people who made it happen. And as Mayor Lee alluded to, that is a lot of different people. First and foremost, the port team led by Planning and Development, Byron Rett, Carol Bach, David Beaupre, with our very own Southern Waterfront Advisory Committee led by Karen Pierce and our friends at the Parks Conservation. We have our project manager, Stephen Reel, from our engineering group. We have our Dan Hodap, who I see I missed, excuse me. We have DPW, who did this fabulous design for this 1.25 acre. We have the Department of the Environment, who had the vision for the living classroom that maybe was going to be out in Phil's territory, but happily it is here at the Port of San Francisco, and we had help with that from a number of agencies. And we have our maintenance division, whose job it is to take care of this park on a regular basis and keep it looking as gorgeous and as welcoming as it is. And I want you to think back and remember that this park was not a park for very long. Originally, this was supposed to be a cargo terminal. So imagine what it would have been like if we had containers stacked all around here. Instead, what we have is a place for humans to come and enjoy, dogs to come and enjoy, the children to come and learn about the natural habitat in one of the best areas of the city weather-wise. And we're just very proud of our ability to constantly reinvent ourselves and to use our ability to make it all better. And so I would also like to thank the MTA for their vision in helping with the Blue Greenway on Cargo Lane. And of course, last but not least, the Department of Rec and Park, who without them we wouldn't be here today having this great celebration. And I hope you will all come back with your dogs, with your families, and with your picnics, and enjoy yourselves very much. So thank you again.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you for those acknowledgments of the port and city staff involved in this project. But we wanted to ask a couple of our key partners to speak about these projects and their participation. In particular, the Parks and Recreation Department is a key partner with the port. As the mayor and Monique have mentioned, in 2008, they led a campaign to get $185 million of park bonds, a portion of which is made available to the port and is being used for these Blue Greenway projects. That partnership has led to ongoing program partnerships related specifically to the Eco Center. And as the mayor said, most recently, we're working together here in 2012 to get an additional $195 million in park bonds. So with that, I'd like to introduce Phil Ginsberg, the director.
Good morning, everybody. So I haven't been able to let it go yet either, Mr. Mayor. So yesterday, our city celebrated a huge victory in the world of sports, right? And today, we're here to celebrate yet another victory. A win for parks, a win for the waterfront, a win for nature. And I think you can kind of feel it, right? Yesterday, after all the noise and the craziness, just breathe. right? Like today is, you can feel it, it's slower, it's calmer, and if you look out there, it's just, you kind of absorb the place. And we are in one of the most very special and beautiful parts of the city, and to celebrate an incredible project. San Francisco's waterfront is more than simply the border of our city. In its edge lies some of San Francisco's best recreational opportunities, our most engaging parks, and just enormous potential to create one of the most vibrant waterfronts in the world. And through our partnership with the Port, we're helping to create newly publicly accessible waterfront parks along Portland on the eastern, the southern, and northern sides of San Francisco for all San Franciscans to enjoy. These projects, as the mayor and Monique said, are made possible by the 2008 Clean and Safe Neighborhood Parks Bond. 4 years ago, it was approved by 72% of city voters, and it's allowed us to begin to address more than $1 billion worth of deferred maintenance needs in our parks, and to cultivate what once was an industrial waterfront into something so much more spectacular. And if you've been around town lately, you've no doubt seen all of the fantastic changes happening to our parks, from our new recreation center in Chinatown, the Betty Ann Ong Rec Center, new playground and new athletic fields, and one of the most special projects that we've done at Mission Playground, right at around is it 24th and Valencia. Yesterday, we had the great pleasure of cutting a ribbon at Fulton Playground in the Richmond. Here in District 10, there is a park renaissance. We're seeing incredible things happening thanks to the 2008 Parks Bond. We've got new trail improvements at Bayview Hill and McLaren Park. We have a new playground at Peru Street and McLaren Park. New park restrooms at Bayview Playground, Hilltop, and in McLaren. And of course, the incredible improvements here. Since 2010, the Port has been an incredible partnering agency to Rec and Park, supporting both our youth stewardship program and most recently in 2012, our Greenager program, in which we have our inaugural class of 10 kids, all products of this neighborhood, of District 10, who are learning environmental education. They are getting paid, it is work. They are helping to steward the land, and they are learning leadership skills. And I want to single out a couple of folks from that team, Kimberly Kiefer, who runs our volunteer program. Zoe Burton, who's helped do a lot of the programming for our youth stewardship program. Brenda Cartagena from Greenagers. Where's Brenda? She's not here. And Carol Bach from the Port, with whom we've worked incredibly closely. And just to conclude, there's been a lot of talk about team lately. Bruce Bochy said it yesterday, the mayor said it yesterday, and said it again this morning. This is a team, and great things happen when we work together. And looking around the room, there are so many critical members of the team that are putting our parks, our recreation, our open space, the quality of life for San Franciscans ahead of self. And that includes the Port. It includes the Department of Public Works. It includes the Public Utilities Commission. It includes Laborers Local 261. It includes our friends at the San Francisco Parks Alliance and our friends at the San Francisco Bike Coalition. It includes our friends at A. Philip Randolph Institute. It includes our friends at the Alliance for Jobs and the Center for Environmental Justice. There are so many incredible partners who are contributing to make this city better, and it's a very, very, very special day, so go team.
Just wanted to mention a few other partners who are key to what the Port tries to accomplish here along the waterfront, both here in Bayview and throughout. So one of those key members is the Coastal Conservancy. The Coastal Conservancy contributed $500,000 to the construction of the park back in 1999. In 2010, they contributed another $400,000 toward the construction of the Eco Center, and then played a role in the development of the bikeway with an additional $70,000. So I wanted to introduce Amy Hutzel from the Coastal Conservancy to talk a bit about this project.
Thank you, and thanks for including me and the Coastal Conservancy in this event. We're really honored. to have played a role in the work that's been going on here at Heron's Head. And I'm also representing the San Francisco Bay Trail, a really close partner of ours. The Coastal Conservancy, we are a state agency, and our vision is of a beautiful, restored, and accessible coastline. And I think this project really epitomizes what we're trying to achieve in our vision. The passage of park bonds at the state level, most recently Proposition 84 in 2006, has allowed projects like this to take place around the state, in the city, in the Bay Area, and along the coast of California. And it allows local organizations and agencies to leverage their local funds and make those funds go even further through the application of state bond dollars. The Conservancy's had a great interest for a long time in improving wildlife habitats and public access to the San Francisco Bay here in southeast San Francisco. We've partnered with the Bay Trail, the Port of San Francisco, Literacy for Environmental Justice, and many other organizations and agencies to develop the Heron's Head Park, to build the Heron's Head Eco Center, and now to plan and construct the bike path and this really grand entrance to Heron's Head. It's completed a really critical gap in the San Francisco Bay Trail, which is a regional trail that circles the entire San Francisco Bay. It's about 300 miles of it are done of a planned 500-mile loop. So this project really fits perfectly with our vision to improve access to the San Francisco Bay and to the California coast, to restore wetlands and natural habitats throughout the state, and to complete the San Francisco Bay Trail here in the Bay Area. And I just want to thank a few individuals that we've really worked closely with, Laura Thompson and Maureen Gaffney at the San Francisco Bay Trail. And Ann Buell at the Coastal Conservancy. And then David Beaupre and Carol Bach with the Port of San Francisco. So thank you.
Thank you. I mean, as we've said, there are a number of partners that were necessary to work together to make this happen. The bidirectional bikeway is part of the Blue Greenway project, as we mentioned, and it's an important connection from the Bayview community to Heron's Head Park and to 3rd Street and the Gateway Park we will be building next. Hopefully we'll be starting that in a year or so. A key player in making that bikeway happen was MTA. They were involved in every step of the process, from design to funding to construction. And I want to introduce Damon Curtis, a senior manager with MTA, who's representing them.
Thank you and good morning. I think I just got a promotion, but that's great. On behalf of my colleagues at the MTA, in particular our director, Ed Riskin, Bon Yi, who heads up our Sustainable Streets Division, and my boss, Bridget Smith, who heads up Livable Streets, I want to thank you all for coming, and I appreciate this opportunity to talk a little bit about the importance of the bicycle facility you see behind you. I also want to, before I begin, acknowledge the Cargoway Bike Project Manager, James Shaw-Miri, who's sitting back there. So I'd like to start, and I'm proud to start, by reiterating the fact that this is the first, San Francisco's first, physically separated two-way bike facility. So that's a very big thing. It's something to be proud of, and I think it deserves a round of applause. But in addition to being novel, it also includes some very innovative design features. We have actuated bicycle signals all along the corridor, as well as greenback sherrills guiding cyclists through one of the bigger intersections down at Amador in Illinois. So As many people have stated, the importance of this project, it can't really be understated. It closes a gap in the bike network, provides a connection for the southeastern neighborhoods, the Bay Trail here at Heron's Head Park, connects them with the 3rd Street Light Rail Corridor, as well as the bike lanes on Illinois Street. And it's also a great example, as has been mentioned, of a great partnership between the MTA and our partners at the Port and Rec and Park and DPW. So I'd like to close really by saying that our experience here locally, as well as a lot of research that's been done both in the US and throughout the world, has shown that building bike facilities like this, ones that are connected, ones that are convenient, and ones that are comfortable for people of all ages and abilities, is important in order to increase bicycle mode share. And that will help us achieve our goal, as ambitious as it is, of having 20% bicycle trips by bike by the year 2020. So thank you very much.
The port manages the 7.5 miles of waterfront. And for planning purposes, the areas, it is divided into a number of sub-areas. We're in the southern waterfront sub-area, and within each of those sub-areas, we have a number of stakeholders, but we always have an advisory committee that we work closely with. So the Southern Waterfront Advisory Committee has played a key role in the creation and the development of the Blue Greenway projects, and has been an active participant and supporter of these two developments, the expansion of Heron's Head Park and the bikeway on Cargo Way. So I wanted to introduce the longtime chair of the SWAC, or the Southern Waterfront Advisory Committee, Karen Pierce.
So good morning. Today is my day off. I didn't expect to be speaking. And so I came ready to hang out at the park. But I'm telling you that because there's been a theme going here. And on my way over to the park, I was thinking the same thing about teamwork and partnership, okay? The piece that hasn't been really emphasized this morning, except by the train going back and forth, is that this is the part of the park that is a working maritime port. And it is very important that we keep this part of the port that way, okay? The Southern Waterfront Committee is made up mostly of residents of Bayview, Hunters Point, and the surrounding area, and port tenants. They provide blue-collar jobs for many people in San Francisco. If we don't have this waterfront working as a maritime waterfront, we would lose those jobs, and we would lose a significant piece of the diversity that we all celebrate. So I just wanted to point out to you that I don't know if they made sure that the trains were moving back and forth this morning, but when I saw the train out there, I almost jumped for joy, okay? So my thoughts on the way over here were really about the fact that in 1997 or so, if you came out here to this area, for community residents, this was an eyesore, it was an old dump. For the port, it was a headache and an eyesore because it was an old dump. Then Literacy for Environment brought a group of their students out to check out what was going on at the power plant. And those young people came out here and saw a park and a wetlands. And they went back and they said, we want to work with the port to clean that up because we want to learn how to build a wetlands. And what you see today is the vision of those young people that was supported by community members, the tenants on the port, the industrial activity on the port, as well as the port and all of the other city agencies that were required for this to happen. So I want us to really celebrate partnership. There are many times when we're at each other's throats. Almost everybody who's a city employee around here knows that I am really happy to let loose and complain and criticize. All of that, though, is part of making sure that what we wind up with is the best for the city. And this is an example of that. We worked hard. We fought with the Bicycle Coalition because we wanted to be sure that whatever bike path went down Cargo Way, okay, was going to make sure that cargo could still go down Cargo Way safely. We worked hard with everybody who wants to come on this port and work here to make sure that they understand they have to be a good neighbor because they are part of this community. And the port is part of this community. As far as I know, and I do quite a bit of environmental justice work and work with a lot of organizations around the country that are focused on port activities because port activities have a huge impact on health wherever they are. As far as I know, this is the only port in the United States that is known as a good neighbor. And I want us all to celebrate that fact because you can't do that unless you're working together.
Finally, we wanted to highlight an example of the variety of activities that happen at the Eco Center. There is a ship called the Alma that was constructed in 1891. It's managed by the National Park Service and was recently sailed back to the Hunters Point area where it was originally constructed. There is an all-day celebration that's happening at the Eco Center today to acknowledge that history. And that celebration is being sponsored by a number of entities, and I'll just mention them. The San Francisco Maritime National Historic Park, the History Pen, California Historical Society, and Stanford University. So I wanted to invite up Sudeep Rao to speak on behalf of Stanford University and this celebration of the Alma.
Welcome, folks. It gives me great pleasure. I had the thrill and honor of serving as executive director of LEDGE back in 2005 to 2007. So I'm pleased to introduce all you folks to this area. The Alma, built in 1891, just came by just now. And John Christensen was going to introduce the Year of the Bay project. So we are launching 2013, the Year of the Bay, with the America's Cup, as well as the opening of the east pan of the Bay Bridge, and lots of other interesting things happening. We actually want to have a ferry terminal right here in India Basin, so we can actually have taxis to Sausalito and Alviso. So may our visions come true. So I want to just share with you that, as Byron pointed out, Stanford University, Heyday Books, California Historical Society, and a lot of other partners have come together. So we have the whole day at the Eco Center, so we welcome to come by and check it out. This is a beautiful building off the electric grid, also off the sewer grid. We have our own wastewater treatment inside. So with that, we're going to have tours of the boat. The boat is in India Basin. So you can actually walk along the trail to India Basin Shoreline Park and get to the 900 Inez location. So with that, I thank you. And the boat is going to go back. We've been trying to get youth on board. So if there are any young people who want to get on the boat, you're welcome to. It leaves here at 4 o'clock. So talk to me or talk to the people inside. So once again, thank you and congratulations to everyone. Thanks.
So thank you, Sudeep. With that, we're ending this part of the program, but I would like to invite you to join the mayor for the unveiling of the sign for this new expansion project.
On 3, 2, 1, new sign.